round 5 of the BMW IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup. We're in Park City, Utah, the venue for the 2002 Winter Olympic Games, the first ever Olympic women's skeleton competition. And as we get into the second and deciding heat, a light snow falling, shades are open, the sun has been obscured by the low cloud here. Martin Haven, John Morgan after a thrilling first heat.
Yeah, Annie O'Shea, who broke through with a gold medal last week at Lake Placid here at her home track, didn't get the start I thought she'd get, but she showed it's her home track advantage. She finished in a bronze medal position. Next up, Jane Chanel. She's only won once ever in a World Cup career of 2 years, a bronze medal in Winnipeg earlier in the year. Here, with a great start time, she rocketed down the track, and she's in a silver medal position after heat 1. Very impressive. But everybody's chasing Tina Herman. She is the World Cup leader, gold jersey on, and great start, great drive down the track, and she's got quite a lead here of 20 plus hundredths of a second. She's won twice already. She could be in position to win her third event of the year.
Yeah, Tina Herman, 21 hundredths clear of Jane Chanel. Annie O'Shea and Kendall Wessenberg racking up, looking for a spot on the podium. And last week, a win for Annie. It would be a first podium for Kendall Wessenberg. Janine Flock not far away either. There's some very close-looking battles all the way down the order. Look at that, a three-way tie for 12th position, just 200ths off 11th. And down at the tail of the field, Katie Tannenbaum goes off first, 20th in heat 1. Jacqueline Narracott of Australia with a disastrous first run fails to make the cut. Athletes warming up in the snowy car park. No wind, fortunately. It's not particularly cold, but there's just this light snowfall, enough to bring the United Kingdom to a complete standstill, but not enough to make much of a difference here to the track, I don't think. There's one of our jury officials, Olga Kryakova of Russia in the white hat, just making sure that Parc Ferme is observed. Athletes not allowed to change or fiddle with their sleds. The men can go in, but the women, their sleds are now set for the second heat. Any wind noise at the top there from the Renata Kutsina's skipping rope.
There's the men working on their sleds. They're coming up in about an hour. The women to go first. Parc Ferme, they're not allowed, as you said, to touch the equipment. And, you know, this is fine-tuning time, you know, and taking care of those little blades that are shined up better than anything you know.
Runners so vital for speed. They're not square-edged like the blade of an ice skate. They're rounded, tubular runners. Katie Tannenbaum of the Virgin Islands made the cut in the first heat. She will go off first as we go 20-1, chasing the gold medal, chasing the race leader, the World Cup points leader, German sensation Tina Herman. But it could be a big day for Jane Chanel, Annie O'Shea, Kendall Wessenberg perhaps, Janine Flock and Sophia Griebel not too far away. Some big performances in the first heat. Here we go. Mum, dad, friends and family watching at what is effectively home ice for Katie Tannenbaum. You'll understand that the Virgin Islands don't have much in the way of ice tracks.
Really?
So this is the track she knows best. She makes the cut here, and she is the first to go. Now, Martin Rettles makes sure she doesn't blast off before the 30-second countdown.
And Martin Rettles knows the track well. He won the Olympic silver medal here in 2002 for Austria. And he's like a developing nations coach, which you'll see him up here with a couple other teams also. Look at the snow line she just made down through there. So there is blowing snow. There is an expected storm to come in here in the next couple hours. So we're hearing that with some high winds.
Well, the men in their four-man bobsleds who raced last night in the teeth of a gale will be so thrilled to see that forecast. It looks like lightning will strike twice. Well, Katie Tannenbaum, good first heat to make it into the run.
Yeah, it's a personal best. Never made it into the second run in any of the previous competitions, which is over a 2-year period.
You can imagine again the Winter Sports Federation, not huge in the Virgin Islands, perhaps a bit bigger on more summer sports. And she travels with a lot of the other athletes in a little team of one, and a 52.88 slide for her.
Boy, that's almost 9/10 slower.
Yeah, now don't forget the snow has been falling, so I'm not sure how much the track has been swept.
Well, that tells me, I mean, Katie is not the most consistent athlete out here, but it's 9/10 slower. I think the track is definitely at least a half second slower, and we'll start to see it. Just lets her hands cross over.
I think the snow is definitely falling harder
She
too.
really launched herself on there. A lot of air. And now into the sunny curve. You got to be so quiet. No steering allowed, and she's got her foot in contact with the wall. I wouldn't say that's what you want to do.
Yeah, bumped off the wall, but she will not drop out of 20th place. She's in the leader's box. That huge sunny smile as ever from Katie Tannenbaum. Christmas tree, of course, the Germans all know that. Next up, Renata Kutsina from Russia. One of 3 young Russian athletes in the field whose equipment didn't arrive for the first day of training. First time ever in North America, first time ever on the Park City track. She had 2 days to learn it. That's 3 50-second runs. So about 5 minutes in total over 2 days to get your head around the intricacies of a track where you must know it intimately, so not to steer.
20th place in Lake Placid last weekend in her World Cup debut.
Just 22 years old.
5:23 in the first run, 5:20 in the second run. 300s improvement.
20 women in the field for heat number 2.
Not bad. Now this is sharp, wet, sunny, and then there are a couple quarter combinations, then you get right into snowy. Look at the line. That line is a good reference point where she straddled it nicely. You don't want to be high or below that line.
Remember, 6 trips in training. This is now her 8th time down this track in her life.
Her head was way up there looking at the take onto the Wasatch curve.
Well, they always say in motor racing, you can't drive through a corner unless you can see through a corner.
She only had a 400th lead on Tannenbaum, and she's really opened this up.
Yes, she has. This is a very good-looking run from Kutsina.
51.67. She's 3/10 better. So we had one athlete go 8/10 slower.
Yeah.
One athlete go 3/10 better. I got to go with the fact that the track hasn't lost its speed.
No, I guess Katie Tannenbaum didn't quite have the second heat that she did in the first. Well, if you're going to produce a good heat and there's a big field, you've got to produce it in the first. Renata Kutsina takes the lead for Russia from the Virgin Islands.
That's quite a winter sport combination. Russian.
Not a phrase you're going to hear many times. I'll grant you that.
Her head's way up there in the Alberts Alley, but she's only in her second World Cup race.
Yeah, there she is. Big smile again from Renata. And that was a good run from her.
She looked pretty comfortable in that winner's box.
Would have left her in a couple of spots higher up the order in the first heat. What about Corinna Meyer? Again, learning this track fast. Her kit didn't turn up, so she just had 2 days training, 3 runs a day rather than the regular 2. Coach Mickey Grunberger with the sled, a Schneider sled for her.
5:22 in the first heat, so she should be within that couple hundredths either way. 5:32.
Ooh.
Now, that's weird.
Well, let's see how her run progresses. Her advantage over her Russian rival was 24 hundredths of a second. She only had 12 hundredths when she laid down, and she could be in the red soon, tied for the lead. So that shows us that Kutsina's run was a good one. In fact,
Numbers.
yeah, her second heat, Kutsina, was better than Corinna Meyer managed in the first heat. So even if Meyer matches her first heat performance,
She's not going to do it.
I think she's going to drop a little.
She gets it down to single digits. No, 10 to 20. Now into the finish. Boy, you don't think it, but you really go downhill, and then the track shoots you back uphill here in the graveyard section. Through and down. She's got her second best time in the heat, 52.47. So she goes 7/10 slower.
Well, that's 8/10 slower than Kutsina managed on her second heat. So
maybe
Kutsina could be in the leader's box for a while.
She might have had a really bad first run because both the other 2 sleds we've seen come down are 7, 8, 9/10 slower. Kutsina went 3/10 faster. The hands and the crossover, the athleticism to jump on these sleds. It's not easy, and everybody's got a different technique. And then the technique of being so quiet up here on the sunny. This was pretty good entrance. Look at her head turn a little bit. That's how she's steering around the curve with her head down. She's not looking there.
Great view of the form the athletes have with their arms clamped to the side around the saddle to hold them in. Takako Oguchi from Japan. There's former 800-meter sprinter runner. 51.47 first heat compared to 51.95 for our current leader Renata Kutsina. So 48 hundredths up. Will she hold her position, or is Kutsina going to pick off another big scalp? Takako 13th fastest start, 5:16 in the first heat.
Yeah, as we mentioned in the first run, last week she competed. We go, this is a brand new athlete. And they said, no, you've got her headshot. She just got married over the summer.
Yeah, she was Takako Omukai last year. But we hadn't caught up with her in the early part of the season and hadn't figured that one out.
Green numbers, all good. Full point, huge the lead.
Oh, big swerving height there, though.
That's in the snowy,
Yeah.
way above those target blue lines.
That means she'd have been steering desperately to avoid a crash on the exit.
41 hundredths, though. That's a lot of time and only some real major mistakes down here.
Oh, she's very wavy. The gap is just about stable, though. I think she may hold on in front of Kutsina.
Yeah, this is pretty good. She should be the leader by 2,500s at least.
And she does hold on. Great prediction again. How come you didn't get my Powerball numbers right?
I was working on my own.
Yeah, well, didn't work too hard. You've got a bit more of the fluence today. 2,500ths of a second, the advantage for Takako Oguchi.
That's good performance for her.
She's
Going to finish no worse than 16th place, maybe move up.
And where did she finish? 13th in Lake Placid.
Now watch the line. You want to straddle this blue line. She comes over on the wrong side of the curve. Watch her climb way up. Now watch it come down, and you don't see she's going back up in the outlet, so a lot of steering. Then down here in the Olympic curve, she taps going in. That's going to throw her below that line. You want to straddle those lines. But she's in the leader's box.
Yes, she is. I was looking for the big steer when she got that big height in Snowy Corner, but it didn't come, so she was clearly riding it out. Next up, Switzerland's Michaela Widmer, born and bred in Canada, raced for Canada up until last season. 20th fastest start with a 5.29 slide. Again, she was 2/10 quicker than Takako Oguchi, our current leader in Heat 1.
How hard not to look at that helmet. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
She's got style points for helmet. She's in the top three.
Canadians are right up there with the airbrush work on the helmet, aren't they? All the Canadians got some great work going on the sleds and on the helmets, and of course she's born and bred in Canada, so tapping into that little network. She's got green numbers. She's down to a 10th in front. 125.8's good speed.
Down to 9, so she's holding on, bleeding back. It's going to skid there into the big Wasatch curve, and she gets into the Olympic curve nicely. No mistake there.
Here we go.
Now she's accelerating away. Now she's showing a little experience.
She was 2,100s up on Oguchi, 120.4. That's the quickest sled we've seen through that speed gun, and 2,900s. She opens up the lead with a 51.82 slide. That's the Renato Kutsina's 51.67 is still the fastest of the competition in this second heat.
Yeah, she's 1,500 slower than her first heat time, but good drive line, especially down on the Olympic curve. She didn't tap going in. She hit those blue lines, straddled them very nicely. Start, she gave up a little time here at the start. Third best start, 5:28. She did not get on that sled properly. You know, there's a little bit more start technique she needs. And this skid down here in Alberts Alley, well, you can tell she wasn't coming straight, but she's the leader. I look great. That's what they're telling me.
How are you? Good, how are you? Good.
Michaela Widmer of Switzerland, the leader, with 15 to go here in Park City. Donna Crichton of Great Britain, 10th fastest at the start. She's lost her regular getaway speed with a broken big toe on her right foot.
And she still had the 10th best start time, but usually she has the top 3 start time. She's one of the better athletes in the field. She came out in that class, you always say, with Amy Williams.
Lizzie Arnold, the Olympic champion, she was in that same field. Amy Williams was already sliding a year or two by that stage, but she was in that big intake following here, 2002, when British female skeleton got their first run at an Olympics, and Alex Cumber got the bronze medal, and that's what put women's skeleton on the map in Great Britain. Silver for Shelley Rudnan in 2006, gold for Amy Williams in 2010, gold for Lizzie Arnold in 2014.
Aren't you Great Britain just like Virgin Islands? You don't have a track?
We don't have a track, but we're not quite the same as the Virgin Islands. Population a little larger, temperature a little lower. Great run from Donna Crichton, 51.80. Just gets her nose across the line to hold on to a top 15 finish.
Yeah, she's 6/10 slower, 5/5600 slower. But
she was 800s out of the three-way tie for 12th in the first heat, so there is a chance now. We're into this really tight knot of athletes that she could maybe move up.
this is an athlete that's got about 75% because of that broken toe.
I broke a toe when I was about 10 or 11, and I was walking with a stick at school at that age for about a month, and she's sprinting. Split squats, everybody. Don't do them.
Ja, we hebben de hele tijd gezien. Opeens doe ik het niet meer goed.
I beg your pardon, split snatch it was, so yeah. But where the legs go forwards and backwards, broke her toe. Next up, Anastasia Schlapak of Russia. Now, this girl can start 5:07 getaway, 5th quickest in the field. 2 days of training, 1 competition run. She's been down this ice 7 times in her young life so far. But this 20-year-old could be a big deal for Russia.
See those spikes, 365 16th of an inch spikes in the bottom of those shoes. Gives them the grip to come across the ice. And some people use them better than others.
Russia's star female slider at the moment is Yelena Nikitina, who's now 21 years old, and she's got the great start. I think Schlapak could be right in there as well.
The other athlete over there's not here either, Lou.
Yeah, they're top three back home.
Rocket starters.
But Schlapak's got the opportunity to move up. She can hold this speed. She's doubled her first round advantage already over Donna Kreitz. She's tripled her first round advantage already over Donna Kreitz. Over a third of a second up now. It's a really good looking run again.
18th place in Lake Placid last week, so
Nearly half a second up.
in her second World Cup, she's going to have up the leaderboard.
Boy, she's jealous about holding her speed, isn't she? She'll be half a second in front.
51.35. Both Russian sleds have had she's only 1900 slower. Everybody else is 6, 7, 8 tenths slower. She was only a couple tenths slower.
If she's not in the top 10, something really wacky is going to have to happen, and she may climb a lot further up. I think we're going to get used to seeing a lot of smiles from Anastasia Schlapak.
And look at the technique. Now watch her hands cross over here. Great pictures from our crew. Look at the way she gets on there with her chest coming down first, and a lot of people with their knees. But I think you have to have that air time and land on there when with a very athletic move.
I asked her about the helmet art. I said, what's on your helmet? It's the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland.
Come on.
You know. So another great looking helmet as well. And here's another one with the Romanov colors on for Olga Potylitsina. So she was in this 3-way tie with her teammate who now needs Anastasia Schlapak and Marina Gilardoni of Switzerland.
She won't get the start. Her teammate did. She'll be around 20, 25, 17. Whoa, she got 100th better. Not many people are going quicker in the second run than the first run.
She's only one behind her teammate at the start, so she's got to find that extra pace.
She's the only person in the field, in this part of the field, that's won a World Cup. She won the 2014 World Cup in Innsbruck. Came out of nowhere to win the event. We were shocked, like, who's this? 2013, excuse me, January 2013.
Yeah.
2 tenths back. Boy, it's a lot of time. And her teammate was...
She's not finding it.
No.
She's just going away. She's fading. She's second still ahead of Donna Kreitz. There's a half second back to Donna Kreitz.
A couple of places, maybe. No, I don't think so. She's going to drop at least 1-0.
Vicious transition. Saw her head there. That's going to... She'll have a stiff neck in the morning. Oh,
third best time of the run.
yeah. Somebody get Anastasia Schlapak a hairband stat. Olga Potylitsina slips to second, so the tie is broken, at least partially.
You know, she's got to be very disappointed. She's in the Russian B part of the program. She's a former World Cup winner. A lot of aspirations going into the Sochi Olympic Games, but out of snow, look at her, this tap she makes here. And then look at her feet separated. And now it's the boy up top of the track when you want the sled to accelerate. Then down here, Martin, you called it. She came off the finish curve really late going into the grade.
That gave me a stiff neck just watching it. She's always got this beaming smile, Olga. Now here is the third of our 3-way tie for 12th. Marina Gilardoni. Feeling bunged up and coldy.
She medaled the last 2 times out. Her first medals ever in Königssee before Christmas.
Yeah.
Then in Lake Placid last week, a silver. So I think she led after the first heat last week.
And that's really bringing a huge smile to her face. She's having such a good season. Another Bromley slider. Bromley sled for the first time this year. And that seems to have transformed her ability. 4:95, the track start record, 4:94. That's how quick this girl is.
She's a very powerful athlete, started in bobsledding in the back of a bobsled, junior world champion, as you mentioned in the first run. 2/10 lead, did not have a very good first run, didn't look comfortable all the way down the track.
Now, can she hold this advantage over Schlappach? 1400ths of a second. There's just about enough to meet it out over this ice if she doesn't make too many mistakes.
Tap there in the entrance to the Olympic curve. It's down to 5. That tap's really going to hurt her.
She's losing ground too fast. Going to be really tight. Could be a tie at the bottom. No, she's gone behind by 100th of a second.
So personal best for the young Russian, but Giraldoni, who silver medal last week in Lake Placid. This is a disappointing run with that start time.
Well, we've got so many female athletes in the skeleton field who are medal contenders every time out. Not every time do they get there, though.
Not very happy.
Hey, Charlie.
Now, this is a powerful female athlete right here. Now, watch her cross over her hands, jump. Look at the sled. Look, good athleticism load. 4:95, only 100th off the start record.
But
down here's the big mistake, Martin. The tap on into the Olympic curve, and then she's forced over in the middle, has to skid a lot.
We were saying a couple of years ago, weren't we, when she has got the speed at the start, when she stops hitting stuff on the way down, she's going to be hard to beat, and she's right there. Joske Leconte in the Netherlands. Now, what a good run she had in the first heat to like 11th.
Hard not to root for her to do well here.
Martin Rettel again, cheering her off at the top. 5:11. She started 5:12 in the first heat. She knows that every single 100th of a second could make a difference here. She's in the red behind Anastasia Schlappach, who started 5:07, but was only 200ths behind. We had 4 sleds covered by 200ths of a second.
She stops the bleeding here, no longer loses any more time. She's 8 now, she's gone now.
Yeah.
She's bleeding all the time back now. She's going to drop at least 2 spots at this pace.
Too much noise, you can hear scraping. The toes are working really hard in every corner and on every straightaway.
She's going to drop at least 3.
Watch her feet all the time, the toes down on the ice, almost every corner. And she will drop 4-6 spots.
8th best time of the run. Boy, she just couldn't put the 2 together. And that's going to put her back in 17th or 18th place.
Yeah, that's really tough.
No, 16th, where she can do 16th.
Yeah, 10 to go, she's in 6th spot.
16th, so that's about where she's been on the World Cup Tour.
Well,
yeah, that'll be her best finish of the season, though. Some positive she could take from this.
Yeah, she'd prefer 10th or 11th and 16th, but still, onwards and upwards.
Got to put both heats together.
Yep. So 10 down, 10 to go. Germany yet to come, but it's Russia's Anastasia Schlappach on her first appearance here, who leads and is aiming for a top 10 finish. Well, the last athlete on the track here will be from Germany. There is our current leader, Anastasia Schlappach from Russia. Martin Haven and John Morgan trackside in Park City, Utah, calling the action. Race winner from our very first round of the series in Altenburg this year. Last year now, it was Laura Dees. Laura first out of the start shed, 10th in Heat 1.
Yeah, I think she was a snowplow. I think she puts down a good heat here. She could move up 3-4 spots.
Well, she may well have made adjustments to the rock on her runners to set how much contact there is after the first heat. She might have thought maybe the ice was going to be softer than it has turned out to be, or harder.
First, 4th, 10th, and 3rd in 4 competitions. 3rd in World Cup points coming into here. And now she's starting now to rocket ahead.
Well, she started 4:95 in the first heat, 5:01 in this, so that's already 600 slower, but she is, now she's losing ground all the way to the Russian.
A lot of noise there. Olympic curve, she can't tap here. She doesn't. Hits that line pretty good.
10th is her worst performance of the season.
This could be right to the 100th. If she makes any mistake here, she's going to lose.
Still so much noise there in that number 14 corner, and at the line, 1300s in front.
So bottom part of the track, she showed her experience. good lines at 11, 12, 13 into the finish, and then through the graveyard without a hitch.
But not as fast down the ice as Schlappacher in this run.
So I take back what I said about being a snowplow. She just hasn't had a good 2 runs here in the Olympic track in Park City. Here's up top. Look at a lot of curve there. She got up really too high there. Maybe got into that curve late, and then this sets her up for Albert's Alley. Head's pretty well down. That's pretty good quiet lines there, but she was losing time. Maybe up top is where she lost it. On the bottom, she saved it.
Top 10 finish guaranteed. Laura Dees leads with 9 to go here in Park City, Utah. Next up, Elizabeth Vache from Canada.
Look at the people taking ice temperatures there. It's got to be, it's one of the officials monitoring the ice temperature. And boy, it looks like some snow coming in.
Yeah, it looks like it's snowing heavier now.
The wind gusts up there pretty severe.
Sure, it's blowing so much today, but the snow is definitely falling a little heavier, which is why she was keen to get away. You see the marks the runners are leaving in the ice. Normally you won't see that.
Well, her parents are here. We saw breakfast. Her mother Rita, as I said in the first team, delivered us a nice box of baked goods.
Yeah, she and her father Jeff went to Dublin on the way home from Koenigsegg in Bavaria for a father-daughter bonding weekend. Did all the tourist stops. Guinness Brewery, Booker Kells.
She's got to watch out here. She's 17, 14.
Now she's opening up the margin. Here we go. 127.3, very good speed as well. We've only seen a couple of sleds faster in the first heat.
Her teammate, Jean Chanel.
Wow, here we go. 3 tenths up on Laura Dees. Now this is making a bid to move up the order.
She made a big mistake in the first run in the graveyard. This time, though, she passes through with no problem.
Oh, nice.
51.18. Great, only 3,500 slower in her first run, but that's appropriate. Much better glide down the track than she had in the first run.
Really feeling the force that time.
There's her
dad. Nice work. And of course going to home ice in Whistler.
And this is where she started the rocket. She only had it down in the 1400s, but then here, perfect lines. Now she can't tap the right-hand wall over there on our side. Olympic curve, she hits it perfect. And this is where she gets the acceleration on the bottom part of the track. That's why she increased her lead to almost 3 tenths.
Nice run, Vache. Next up is Jacqueline Lerling from Germany, who was 1/100th of a second in front of Elizabeth Vache, 8th compared to Elizabeth's 9. We're in a really tight little group here again, where a 1/10 of a second plus or minus is going to mean you go 4 or 5 places up a ladder or 4 or 5 down a snake.
This is the 19th best starter in the first run and the tallest athlete in the competition. She gives up a lot of time at the start, but she reminds me a lot of Marion Thies, the retired German slider, former world champion, who has the worst start in the field, but was the perfect glider and won a lot of World Cup races, just astonishing speeds on the bottom part of the track. And that's what this girl did last year at the World Championships.
The height of a piker's pace and the ability to dig for gold of Marion Thies.
You could say she's a lot like Noelle. Great glider down the track. And
Noelle had much better speed at the start.
And Noelle won the last women's skeleton race here 2 years ago.
She did, from Lizzie Arnold and Sarah Reed.
Did I just have twins or triplets?
Twins.
Twins.
Yeah, I was expecting to see her and Jansen here this weekend with the kids, but maybe with 4 now to bring to the track, it's a little bit of a hard job.
2100s, maybe get to single digits, but she's going to run out of track like she did the first run. There she goes.
Second.
Yeah, she just gives up so much time in the start. Yes, the coach knows that, but well, you give her a track next week in Whistler, she could be dangerous, even though she hasn't been on that track. But with the way she glides, you give her a 1,400, 1,500 meter track, she is one of the best.
Plus, with all that height, she's got mass. And mass
How old
helps.
is she?
20.
Yeah, so there's a big future for Germany.
Started in Europa Cup at 15, Intercontinental Cup, the second tier of sliding. She was 16 and a race winner.
She needs to work on her start, because if she gets any kind of start, she is going to be one of the favorites in Pyeongchang.
We know at this age, the body is still very much maturing, so she will get quicker. There's the Belgian bobsled athletes watching the action here, and this is the girl they've come to meet, their teammate Kim Meilmans, 7th after the first heat. This is you're looking at the results of a girl who is not a rookie slider, except she is a rookie slider.
9th, 7th, 10th, and 11th so far this year. She got the 7th in Winterberg. I keep saying this track's like Winterberg.
Only with more snow. 5:12, that's a good start as well.
That's better than her first.
You know,
Elizabeth Vacci's much more experienced slider down below. But look at the forward. Look how confident she is for the second season on tour.
Well, this is her first season. We only saw her for the first time in the World Championship. She'd not done a World Cup race by that stage, so this is her 5th World Cup race of her career.
Showing a lot of promise in this season. Look at that, very good line. She's 10/100ths back. She's going to have perfect line here. That's great. Hits that blue line where you want on the Olympic curve, but she's losing more time back.
Losing time back, maybe the runner setup is not quite what's needed, but
Gonna drop.
look at her head down as well. She gets her chin right down on the ice, and she'll drop to 2nd place, 3rd place behind Jacqueline Lurling.
Best time of the run, but that'll give her another top 10 finish. And impressive, her
First ever time on this track.
Yeah,
she'll
she's
be
got 6 trips.
She'll be disappointed for about 10 minutes. She doesn't overthink this. She just comes up, has a big smile, and launches off the top like there's not a care in the world. There you go, smiles back already.
That's a sad smile, though. She knows she wanted to get into the top 7. The start here. Again, another athlete running on the groove. Ooh, rough. I think her head hit the ice when she jumped down there.
Could be. And look at the way she's looking straight down at the ice here. She's not looking up at all. She's just got a head tucked for aerodynamic profile.
A lot of confidence for somebody who's never been on the track.
She's got all the right moves.
Yeah.
6 sleds remain. Now we get serious. It is Elizabeth Vacci of Canada who leads. Sophia Griebel of Germany was 17/100ths quicker, but there is now more snow falling as the sled is ready. Well, Griebel 3rd out of the start sheds. Very little North American experience at all for this former luge athlete.
6th best start time in the first run with a 5:06, but here 5:13. So something happened there.
I wonder if the snow is now starting to have an effect. Because as soon as they get out of the shade of the start building, they're pushing through a little bit of fresh snow. Griebel 800ths up from 1400ths up. The gap is down. It'll be 0 by the next clock. 1:26 is not fast enough. She's going to go behind and stay behind. Vacci was 1:27. Griebel is dropping.
Take on here. Good. Watch the line. She's right on the line. Those good lines in the Olympic curve. Still at 10. She stopped the bleeding, but Vacci was perfect down here, and I don't know if Griebel can catch her.
Don't forget, Elizabeth Vacci, medalist last year in her first ever race, won her 2nd ever, up into the lead with 5 to go now.
Jens Mueller can look on, but I think she got beat at the start.
Yeah.
She dropped 700 at the start. This time, Vacci beat her at the start. In the first heat, she beat Vacci by
No, they were tied for 5:08, both of them. So, yeah, she gave away time at the start and didn't get it down. I think Elizabeth Vacci's first run was not her best. The second one was a top draw job, though.
Let's watch the athleticism here. The hands cross over. How much time does she spend in the air? Nice. Head didn't hit the ice.
Yeah.
That was a very athletic load onto the sled. Well, of course, the Germans, as expected, are very technically proficient in every part of the sport.
Little late flop there off the corner, though. The snow continues to fall. Elizabeth Vacci leads with 5 to go. Jacqueline Lurling, Sophia Griebel, 2 of our 3 German athletes already in her wake. Austria's Janine Flock from the top of the track, staring out at the heavier falling snow now. She knows that this is pressure. Elizabeth Vacci came down 2,500ths slower than Janine in the first heat. Will that be enough to allow the Austrian to take the lead? Flock was 900ths out of the medals in Heat 1. She's a former European champion. She is our World Cup Crystal Globe winner from last season, the best woman overall throughout the season.
Great form, look at that, perfect in into that sunny curve, onto those blue marks. Now watch her here out of Albert's Alley. Look at her coming at us. The energy needs to come right. It's perfect.
Holding her lead. 2300s at the start, still 2300s.
Looked like she got out a little early on that Olympic curve, but it worked. She's accelerating away.
She's going to deny Elizabeth Vachier a chance of a medal.
This is a much better run, I think, for Janine Flock.
Yeah, and she holds her advantage.
Wow.
Oh, that was a big bottom end for Janine.
Wow.
That was a really big last three corners. She held speed there like nobody has.
And she has not medaled yet this year. Her best finish of the season was last week in Lake Placid, 5th, and she knows she just nailed it.
Yep, so she is now the leader with 4 to go.
I think she's happy.
Yeah.
Look at the line. Ooh, little tap there before the first big challenging curve, sunny. But look at the form, look at the feet. Perfect bullet form, especially here in Albert's Alley. Her head barely up. You can see the eyes looking for the take onto the Wasatch curve.
Well, you know, so much of Janine's season, like her Austrian teammates, will be getting herself in the right place to try and win medals on home ice in the Worlds. Kendall Wessenberg, a World Cup rookie this season for the USA. I know there's a lot of people probably very bleary-eyed watching in Europe at the moment, hoping that she fares well.
5:38, that's 1,500 slower than her first heat when she posted the 17th best start time. That's the 16th best start in the heat here. And she was unbelievable in the bottom part of the track, but she's down so much here. I don't know how she can come back.
3,700s back behind Janine Flock, the leader. She is 7th on splits at the moment after being 4th in the first heat. She found speed like no one else. This is the track she knows better than any other on the planet.
3,800's down. She might get down to 20 here at the next clock to have a chance. Nope, not going to do it.
Come on, Kendall, bring it back. She's in 4th place on the splits. It'll still be a career high. She'll tie with Sophia Griebel and Kim Marmons if she crosses the line in 4th. And she is 2nd.
8th best time of the run, but the start time, wow.
Well, that
maybe something's going on up there.
That really hampered her all the way down. That start time was just on her shoulder like an albatross all the way down, but great driving
That's
from
going to leave
Kendall
her
Wessenberg.
with the 19th best start time in the second run. She says, I know. I bet you that was related to that start. What did she do wrong here? Oh, that little slip right there.
And then landed on the sled with a lot more weight than she would normally do.
I mean, the line's perfect, but when you she started 2,500s behind.
And again, look how much snow is in the track. You can clearly see marks left by the runners. She's disappointed with her start, but she lies second with 3 to go.
The snow is coming in, boy. When I would have her go as soon as that light turns green. There she goes.
Well, Annie O'Shea, a winner for the first time ever in her World Cup career last week, looking for another medal.
5:05 in the first run, so they don't want to see 5:15 or something.
She's the start record holder, 494 from 2010.
5:16.
5:16, that's 1,100 slower.
Something going on up there. That
is the wind picking up?
Like we saw in the bobsled event last night. A lot of weird things happening up there in that first 100 meters.
It was absolutely breathless, still as you like at the beginning of the first heat, but it looks as though the wind might be gusting at the top of the track now.
Annie O'Shea, though, it's even now. Red numbers probably. She's right to the 100, but she knows the track. Without that skid right there, I would say she could find the speed on the bottom. It's red. That skid up in Albert's Alley cost her. She can, ooh, she's 9 back.
Looking for another medal. Can she find the speed in the last couple of corners? Will she be in with a shot? First at the line or second? She is in second place. Janine is in the medals for the first time.
The year for Janine Flock, and Annie didn't have a good exit of Albert's Alley.
Okay, the last 3 sleds, Janine Flock 51.01, the 2 American girls, Kendall Wessenberg 51.44, Annie O'Shea 51.46.
Wow,
both of them on home ice, nearly half a second slower.
Here's the skid in the Albert's Alley. Now watch her as she's going to the right side of the screen, and when she goes in there, she has to take a lot of pressure in the big curve Wasatch, and then down. They're still skidding down here on the entrance to the Olympic curve. She went from 0 equal to 43 hundredths behind.
Look at the lion on the sled of Jane Channel from West Vancouver. North Vancouver, I beg your pardon. West Vancouver's the ocean, isn't it? Second after the first of our 2 heats. Snow falling harder. There is no sweeping going on, so she is just getting more snow than her rivals.
494. She tied the start record of the first run, so should be sub 5.
Snow being blown out of the grooves by the snow blowers. 498. That's another great getaway.
As expected. 30
fastest in the field bar Marina Gilardoni.
She's looking at it 50.
You can see the Canadian and Japanese colours on her helmet, reflecting her dual nationality.
Boy, she's got 4,500, but she was high there in the snowy curve.
Now, can she challenge for a first ever win against Tina Herman, who comes next? 4/10 up on Janine Flock still. Is it enough?
I don't think this is about Janine Flock. I think this is going for her first ever gold, but it's down to 30. I think this is going to be enough, but it seems like she's losing a lot of time.
Oh, big skid for Jane Channel, and that may cost her the lead. Close at the line, 9 hundredths away.
So her best finish ever, no matter what, for Jean Chanel. Silver medal. She medaled earlier in the season.
Bronze in Winterberg it was.
What do we say about this track in Winterberg? Similar?
Similar nature. Short, straightforward.
Speed, big speed on the bottom. Great. What a
Great run from Jane Channel. Guaranteed silver medal.
But the start, her toes are out here going into.
It wasn't the tidy run that she had in the first heat. That was 8/10 slower than her first run. That's what effect the snow is having. And it changes the way the runners feel on the ice. You slide more easily. Charlie Booker down there in the green jacket, the IBSF photographer.
Okay, game on here. Boy, this is this is no victory lap, I can tell you that. There's a lot of weather conditions could affect this final heat of the day.
Dirk Matchens, another man who slid on this track back in the day, holding the sled off the ice for the last possible moment. Tina Herman, our first heat leader, our World Cup points leader, hence the yellow vest. Twice a winner already this season.
Watch out, 5:08 in the first run, so she gets 5:15 or 16. That's not good.
Worst result this year was in Lake Placid, a track she doesn't know that well. She was 4th off the medals.
5:20. So she couldn't deal with that up there. She's 1,200 slower.
Looks like she should
Chanel
have
was
gust of wind as well.
400 slower. I don't know. She's going to have to be lightning down here to maintain this spot.
Only 100th behind at the start, but it's now nearly 2/10 of a second.
She doesn't stop the bleeding here. She can fall more than one spot.
128, fastest sled we've seen. Here we go. She's bringing it back. This is where she works her magic.
Crossover, does she tap? No, she hits the line perfectly.
Can see her steering, and she has a tie. No, she's 800s up now.
Wow, she's perfect here in the straightaway. She'll win the gold for the third
She is
time.
riding herself into a third win of the season. Victory for Tina Herman. Silver medal, her best ever result for Jane Channel of Canada. And the first medal of the season, bronze for Janine Flock of Austria.
I think it's pretty established now that this Tina Herman has won 3 of the 5 races. How old is she? 22?
Yeah.
I mean, this is, she gets it.
23-year-old Tina Herman. Love that fist pump. She is so excited about these races. This is not wearing off anytime soon, is it? The joy of doing a good job on the track. Jane Channel takes silver, and Tina knows that's her best ever race result. And Janine Flock bronze, her first medal of the season. 4th went to Annie O'Shea, 5th Kendall Wessenberg. So in the end, they only slipped 1 spot each. 6th to Elizabeth Vachi, who pulled herself up from 9th after the first heat.
Wow. I think we've got a star in the making here.
She's not a star in the making, is she? She's not perfectly formed yet, but she's certainly high up in the sky. And she just loves it. She's so much fun to be around.
She had the 13th best start of the run in the second heat and still won. Her driving skills down below on a track she's not that familiar with.
John, she's a lover, not a fighter. She loves the ice. She doesn't fight it.
Perfect form down here in the bottom, and she needed it. She was in the red numbers with a deficient start time.
Yeah. Halfway down, she was in 2nd.
magical lines down the track, and obviously some pretty good setup in the sled. Look at the form.
Extends her championship advantage as well. Teammate Jacqueline Lurling, who lies second in points, was 1 second behind. Laura Dees, who lies third in points, finished in 10th. Lurling in 7th. But Tina Hermann, that fist pump we're going to see a lot more of. Is that the Sebastian Vettel pointy finger of women's skeleton? I think it might be. She wins from Jane Channel and Janine Flock. Channel's best ever World Cup result, the silver medal. Janine's first medal of the season. Annie O'Shea, Kendall Westenberg, 4th and 5th. In fact, that's where they were after the first heat, isn't it? Yeah, 4th and 5th, or 3rd and
3rd and 4th.
3rd and 4th they were indeed. A good run from both of the American girls. The snow certainly falling here, and that's going to make the men's race a little bit more tricky to predict. It means that everybody is going to have to be absolutely on their marks, because if you make a mistake and end off drifting away from the polished ice and into the snow, it's going to have a very significant effect on your progress. Coaches up at the top, they'll go in for a few minutes, warm up, and then come back out when the men come out. All our camera crews out in the cold and the snow for 4 hours. Guys doing a fantastic job here for IBSF television, bringing you the pictures from what is a cold and snowy Wasatch Mountain Range here just outside Salt Lake City, Utah.
There's those lines. Those
yeah, that aerial walkway.
Zip lines, right?
They were up there clambering around there last night in the wind and the snow. I'm not sure that you could persuade me that was a great idea. Didn't want to go outside in the wind and the snow yesterday. Parking lot is full down the bottom, and the track is as well. We've still got the men's competition still to go, so stay with us. It's a no-huddle offense today, John. 4 heats, bang, 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 just to keep the action going. And then, of course, 4-man later on today as well.
And we're expecting a big weather front coming in here, 17-mile-an-hour winds, which means it's going to play havoc at the start, like we saw last night, which was one word to describe the competition: strange.
Yep, that was definitely a weather race. And if we do get a really big storm blowing through, everybody knows we may have a 1-heat race. It may get called after one deciding run. So we may not get the second heat in at all. But we'll wait and see what the weather deals with us, because a few got lucky yesterday. Most got hit pretty hard, I'm afraid, by the wind. And Stephen Holcomb, with the 19th fastest run in the second heat, was one of the worst affected by some margin. The Wasatch Mountain Range in Utah. Tina Hermann extending her championship lead as she grabs win number 3 of the season ahead of teammate Jacqueline Lurling. Jane Channel moves up to 3rd ahead of Laura Dees, and Annie O'Shea closes on the lead group with another big performance. Elizabeth Vachi moving herself up into 10th position in the point. Oh, she was in 10th, closing a little bit on Kim Meilmans. Track workers out sweeping the snow. That didn't slow down Tina Hermann. A couple of other athletes were affected by it, but she managed to negotiate her way down this track and once more dig for gold at the bottom.
Well, her gold at the bottom was the result of the best driving lines of anybody, and had a deficient start time, only the 13th best start in the second run. But boy, she was just technically perfect. She looks a little bit like Martin Stukar's riding the sled down here.
Yeah.
And if she keeps this up, she'll be like Martin Stukar. She's won 3 of the 5 races so far this year. This young 23-year-old is poised to have a breakout season.
Well, we've had 3 first-time winners. Tina Hermann was one. Laura Dees and Annie O'Shea have both won their first races, but she is now starting to take a bit of a dominant position atop this women's skeleton field with win number 3.
Ze snappen me niet. Go, go, go. Yeah, number 3.
Go, go, go. Number 3 is Janine Flock.
Come a bit closer. You look so far.
Swiss guy who owns a beautiful steakhouse here in town that really involved with skeleton for 30 years.
Yeah. One of our 2 jury members with Olga Krykova of Russia and President Daniel Schletter from Switzerland.
3 different nations.
Yeah, Germany, Canada and Austria, all of whom have got very proud heritage in men and women's skeleton sliding. Three ice sliding nations, aren't they? And victory number 3 of the season rounds out the women's action here in Park City. Tina Herman on top once more as they head next to Whistler in the west of Canada. And we have the men's decider coming up next.